General Hospital spoilers reveal that a new wave of actors is set to return to General Hospital, bringing familiar faces back into the mix, but it's the new arrivals that are about to send shockwaves through Port Charles. While longtime fans will celebrate the homecomings of beloved characters, it's the first-time appearances that will truly shake up the status quo. The return of key figures will reignite old rivalries, reopen unresolved storylines, and stir up emotions that have long been buried. Whether it's a Cassadine making a grand reappearance or a past lover resurfacing with unfinished business, these comebacks will set the stage for unexpected confrontations and major power shifts. However, it's the fresh faces that will throw Port Charles into absolute chaos. The arrival of a mysterious new player in the city's criminal underworld could threaten long-standing alliances, while an unexpected newcomer may turn the hospital's power dynamics upside down. A new agent within the WSB, a dangerous outsider with a secret agenda, or even a seemingly innocent stranger with ties to a dark past, any one of these characters could change everything. As secrets unravel and tensions explode, the city will never be the same. Will these newcomers prove to be allies or adversaries? Will their presence unearth dangerous truths that were meant to stay buried? With General Hospital ushering in a mix of iconic returns and game-changing debuts, Port Charles is heading into one of its most unpredictable and electrifying chapters yet. The question is, who will survive the storm that's coming? Jeffrey and Vaughn are set to make their explosive debuts in Port Charles this week, setting the stage for a new wave of intrigue, tension, and unexpected alliances. While Port Charles is no stranger to mysterious newcomers, both men bring an aura of uncertainty that could shift the power dynamics of the town in ways no one expects. Their arrivals are not mere coincidences. There is something deeper at play, and as they step into the lives of Nina and Jocelyn, their presence will ignite conflicts that will only escalate with time. Jeffrey, a distinguished wildlife journalist, initially seems like an outsider with no connection to the usual power players in Port Charles. However, as fate would have it, he quickly finds himself entangled with Nina Reeves, drawing her into a world she never anticipated. Jeffrey isn't just another passing figure, he carries himself with a quiet confidence, an energy that suggests he knows more than he lets on. Nina, having been embroiled in endless personal and professional drama, finds herself drawn to him, but whether his presence will bring her comfort or more chaos remains to be seen. What exactly is Jeffrey doing in Port Charles? Is he truly just here for work, or does he have an ulterior motive? His interactions with Nina hint at a deeper story, one that could have serious consequences if the wrong secrets come to light. And as Nina tries to navigate her own tangled life, Jeffrey's influence over her might make it even harder for her to keep control of the empire she has fought so hard to maintain. Meanwhile, Vaughn is stepping into Port Charles with a different kind of presence, one that carries the weight of authority, discipline, and silent danger. As Jocelyn's WSB handler, Vaughn is responsible for shaping her into a weapon, ensuring that she meets the expectations of an agency that does not tolerate weakness. But as Jocelyn's training intensifies, so does the tension between them. Vaughn is relentless, pushing her to limits she never thought she could reach, testing her in ways that force her to question who she is becoming. For Jocelyn, Vaughn is both an obstacle and a mystery. She resents the way he tries to control her, to shape her into something she's not sure she wants to be, yet she knows she has no choice. If she fails to meet expectations, the consequences could be deadly. But Vaughn isn't just a faceless authority figure, he is someone who understands the weight of what she's going through, and that only makes their dynamic more complicated. As Jeffrey and Vaughn settle into Port Charles, their interactions with Nina and Jocelyn create ripple effects that extend far beyond their immediate relationships. Nina, who has always thrived on maintaining control, suddenly finds herself questioning whether Jeffrey is someone she can trust or if he's just another person with an agenda. Jocelyn, on the other hand, is caught between resistance and submission as Vaughn challenges her in ways she isn't ready for. But the biggest question remains, why are they really here? Port Charles has seen its fair share of strangers who arrive under the guise of innocence, only to reveal their true intentions later. Is Jeffrey truly just a journalist, or does he have ties to something far more dangerous? Is Vaughn simply a WSB agent following orders, Or does he have his own reasons for taking a personal interest in Jocelyn's fate? One thing is certain, their presence will change everything. As tensions rise, as secrets unfold, and as alliances shift, Jeffrey and Vaughn will find themselves at the center of a storm that threatens to consume them. And for Nina and Jocelyn, the choices they make in the coming days could be the difference between survival and disaster. The clock is ticking. And Port Charles will never be the same again. Valentine and Charlotte are finally returning to Port Charles, but their arrival is anything but a peaceful homecoming. Their return marks the beginning of a storm that has been brewing for far too long, and when the dust finally settles, no one will be left untouched. What should have been a long-awaited reunion is instead set to ignite a war that has been waiting to explode, a battle where alliances will be tested, and the truth will come to light in the most dangerous way possible. Valentine is no stranger to conflict, but the one he is walking into now may be the most dangerous yet. Brennan has been quietly pulling strings in Port Charles, weaving his web of influence, and positioning himself as an untouchable force. While others may not fully understand just how deep Brennan's reach goes, Valentine knows better. He has spent months uncovering the truth, piecing together the fragments of a puzzle that leads to one undeniable conclusion: Brennan must be stopped. But Brennan isn't a man who waits for his enemies to make the first move. He strikes first, ensuring that those who dare to challenge him are eliminated before they become a true threat. Valentine is well aware that by returning to Port Charles, he is stepping into the lion's den, but he is ready. He has fought impossible battles before, and this time, it's personal. While Valentine prepares for the war ahead, Charlotte carries her own burden, one that threatens to unravel everything they have fought to protect. She has been keeping secrets, secrets that she knows will change everything the moment they are revealed. She has been listening, watching, and uncovering truths that no one expected her to find. But the weight of what she knows is suffocating. There is no way to walk away from this unscathed. The moment she speaks, the moment she reveals what she has been keeping hidden, the course of their lives will shift forever. Her return to Port Charles is not just about reuniting with her family, it is about finally exposing the truth. But as she prepares to speak, she quickly realizes that telling the truth may be just as dangerous as keeping it locked away. What happens when what she knows is too big to contain? What happens when the revelation she has been holding onto makes her a target? As the Cassadines return, the shockwaves of their arrival begin to ripple through Port Charles, drawing others into the chaos. Anna is immediately pulled into the conflict, torn between her lingering feelings for Valentine and her growing suspicions about Brennan. She knows that this battle will force her to make a choice, and no matter which side she picks, the consequences will be dire. Jason, already dealing with the aftermath of Jocelyn's entanglement with the WSB, finds himself drawn into Valentine's fight as well. He understands what is at stake. If Brennan is as dangerous as Valentine believes, then no one in Port Charles is safe. Meanwhile, Nina, who has spent so much time trying to rebuild her life, is suddenly faced with the realization that the past is never truly behind her. Charlotte's secrets, Valentine's war, and the dangers that lurk just beneath the surface threaten to rip apart everything she has been trying to hold together. And then there is Brennan, the man at the center of it all. He knows that Valentine is coming for him, and he is ready. He does not fear Valentine Cassadine, because he has already set the next phase of his plan into motion. If Valentine thinks he is the one holding the cards, he is mistaken. Brennan always has a contingency plan, and this time, it could cost Valentine more than he is willing to lose. As tensions reach a breaking point, the clock is ticking. Valentine and Charlotte's return is not just another chapter in the Cassadine legacy, it is the beginning of the end for someone in Port Charles. Secrets will be exposed, betrayals will come to light, and when the final move is made, someone will fall. The battle lines are being drawn, and no one is truly prepared for what comes next. Because this time, it is not just about power. It is not just about revenge. It is about survival. And when the truth finally comes out, Port Charles will never be the same again. Port Charles is standing on the edge of an abyss, its foundations trembling as a series of violent and unexpected deaths begin to reshape the city in ways no one could have foreseen. A sinister force is at work, moving in the shadows, and the bloody trail it leaves behind signals that this is only the beginning. The body count is rising, and the people of Port Charles are left to wonder, who will be next? At the center of it all is Sidwell, a name that has now become synonymous with fear. His presence is like a dark cloud looming over the city, and his infamous blade has already claimed more than one life. But it's not just about the kills, it's about the message he is sending. The deaths happening now are not random acts of violence, they are calculated, intentional, and serve a much larger purpose. Someone is cleaning house in Port Charles, eliminating threats, and reshaping the balance of power. And now, two of the most shocking targets have emerged, Drew Kane and Brennan. For weeks, there have been whispers of Drew's fate hanging in the balance, but now it seems that those whispers have turned into reality. His involvement in the dangerous undercurrents of Port Charles has painted a target on his back, and someone has finally decided to take their shot. Whether he meets his end through an ambush, a brutal betrayal, or the weight of his own secrets crushing him, the fallout from his death will be seismic. Carly, already dealing with the turmoil surrounding Jocelyn and Brennan, will be left reeling, forced to face the horrifying truth that even the strongest people in her life are not invincible. Michael, who has had a complicated relationship with Drew, will find himself questioning everything, including who he can trust. And Scout, still too young to understand the full extent of what is happening, will grow up without a father, an innocent victim in a war she never asked to be a part of. But Drew's death is only half of the story. Brennan, the man who has played puppet master for so long, the man who has controlled Port Charles from the shadows, is now standing at the precipice of his own downfall. He has spent years outmaneuvering his enemies, manipulating those around him, and ensuring that he is always one step ahead. But now, it appears he has finally met a foe he cannot outplay. The moment news breaks that Brennan is dead, the city will be left in shock. His connections run deep, his secrets buried even deeper, and his demise will leave a power vacuum that many will try to fill. Was he assassinated by someone within the WSB? Did an old enemy finally catch up to him? Or was it someone much closer, someone he never saw coming? With both Drew and Brennan potentially meeting their ends, the structure of Port Charles is about to be shaken like never before. Their deaths are not isolated incidents, they are pieces of a much larger puzzle. There is a war brewing beneath the surface, and these eliminations are just the first wave. If these two powerful men can be taken down, then no one is safe. The speed at which these deaths are being confirmed is raising alarms across the city. It's as if someone has hit the reset button, clearing the board of old players and making room for a new era of power, chaos, and bloodshed. No one is untouchable. The citizens of Port Charles are being forced to confront their own mortality, to question their alliances, and to prepare for what is coming next. Because if Drew and Brennan have fallen, it means that more bodies are sure to follow. Sidwell's knife has become the symbol of a new wave of terror in Port Charles. His victims may not even know their targets until it's too late. And for those who do survive, the question remains, who will be the next to fall? As paranoia spreads and fear grips the city, people are forced to make difficult choices. Do they fight back, knowing that resistance could make them the next target? Or do they run, hoping to escape the bloodshed before it consumes them too? No matter what they decide, one thing is certain, Port Charles is not what it used to be. The body count is rising. The city is changing. And by the time this storm is over, nothing and no one will ever be the same again. Sonny is preparing to leave General Hospital, and with his departure, Port Charles is about to be thrown into a state of chaos unlike anything it has seen before. For decades, Sonny has been the backbone of the city's underworld, the one constant force that maintained balance between power, crime, and loyalty. His presence was both a source of stability and a catalyst for conflict. Now, with his exit looming, the power vacuum he leaves behind will create a war that no one is prepared for. Sonny's departure isn't just about one man stepping away from the city, his exit represents a seismic shift in the very structure of Port Charles. Without him, the delicate balance of power will shatter, and every faction that has long feared or respected him will begin scrambling to take control. Rival crime families will see this as an opportunity to move in, old enemies will resurface with scores to settle, and even those closest to him will be left vulnerable, exposed to the dangers Sunny once kept at bay. Carly will be one of the first to feel the effects of Sunny's absence. She has built her life around navigating the chaos of his world, and without him, she will be forced to make impossible choices to protect herself and those she loves. The situation with Jocelyn and the WSB is already spiraling, and now, without Sunny's influence to offer protection, she will have to step into a role she never wanted. The weight of keeping her family safe will fall solely on her shoulders, and the question remains, will she be able to withstand the storm, or will Sunny's departure lead to her own downfall? Jason, always Sunny's right-hand man, will also be left in a precarious position. He has spent his entire life being the enforcer, the protector, the one who carries out the orders. But without Sunny to lead, what happens next? Does Jason step up and take over the Empire, knowing full well that doing so would make him the #1 target? Or does he walk away from it all, leaving Port Charles without the safety net Sunny once provided? No matter what he chooses, the repercussions will be massive. Michael, who has always had a complicated relationship with Sunny, will now be at a crossroads. Does he step into his father's world and ensure the Corinthos legacy continues, or does he finally cut ties and let the Empire collapse? If he walks away, others will step in to claim what Sunny left behind. If he fights for control, he will have to embrace the very darkness he has tried so hard to distance himself from. And then there are the enemies, those who have been waiting in the shadows for the moment Sunny was no longer in power. Cyrus Renault, already a major threat, will see this as his opportunity to strike. The Novak family, once thwarted by Sunny's influence, may attempt to reclaim what they believe is theirs. New players, fresh faces in the criminal underworld, will move in, ready to take advantage of the chaos. But Sunny's departure isn't just about business and crime, it's about the people who have come to rely on him in different ways. Nina, who has fought so hard to prove her place in his life, will be left shattered, questioning everything. Dex, who has built a life around working for Sunny, will be left without direction, forced to figure out where his true loyalties lie. Even those who have spent years fighting against Sunny's power, people like Anna, Laura, and Jordan, will have to come to terms with the reality that without him, a new kind of danger is about to emerge. The crisis will only continue to grow as news of Sunny's exit spreads. Port Charles will become a battlefield, with alliances shifting and betrayals lurking around every corner. The power struggles that have been brewing for months will explode into full-blown war. And the truth is, no one is ready for what happens next. Sunny has always been the one constant in Port Charles, the figure who stood between order and chaos. Now, with his departure, the city is left vulnerable, exposed to threats both seen and unseen. The power vacuum he leaves behind will create a ripple effect that will touch every resident, from the most powerful to the most innocent. And as the storm begins to build, one question remains: who will rise, and who will fall in the wake of Sunny's departure? Because one thing is certain, Port Charles will never be the same again.